Hey, looks like we're on.
Yep, that happened.
If people in in which one? In chat?
That's a
Good.
great start.
Twitch chat. There we go.
You did it, Chris.
Let's just portmanteau all the things. This is going to be
Cheers.
amazing. Oh, I need more or a lot less coffee, and I'm thinking it's less now from the kind of shakes. Yeah, if anyone in chat could shout out whether the audio and video is okay, if you heard that, which is now committed to the archives, then yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
If we need the microphones more in our face, less in our face, if I should just leave, we
Yeah.
can get someone who can speak.
Shinmera is asking if it's possible to shitpost in our chat or if you're going to be mad. And you are going to be mad.
Yeah, I'll be furious because I'm a stickler for
Yeah.
convention, manners, and queuing.
Cool. AV is good, apparently.
That's excellent. Hey, Shin. Good to see you, man.
Hi.
All right. Like, so last
again.
time we did things. So, okay, let's do, if people are turning up for the first time, the kind of general what this is. My name's Chris. This is Andreas. I've been living down in the kind of weeds of the code base for a long time while we've been doing all this nice, shiny stuff up on the UX layer. I was wanting to get back into this part of our product, and so Andreas has offered to teach me the basics, and we thought we'd do it on camera just so you can catch all my mistakes, including how I say things, and
my misunderstandings.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this can be
It's all a great
useful to
educational
someone.
experience for everyone involved.
it's art. So yeah, like the last stream we did, we were looking at kind of navigation and pages. So we made this beauty over here. So the first thing, let me just bring up this UX file over here. Again, like when we had the buttons, I'm just going to try and reel off what I remember, and you can correct which terms I've got wrong. Like, we don't have a concept of a page that you use specifically, and like I think there is one pre-made component, but that's not required. We kind of take something like a rectangle and give it page-like attributes, just like we took our rectangle for making our button and gave it button-like attributes. We added some animations, and we were just seeing that these now, let's see if I can remember this. Is this an animator, the change one?
Yes.
Or is that, okay.
So our entering animations and exiting animations are triggers. In this case, these are animations driven by the navigation states,
Yeah.
essentially.
and they're acting on properties a lot.
Yes, and in this case, you'll see in the button, we specify durations for these animators. But with the exiting and entering animation type triggers, like any trigger that ends with animation is one of those, it has its own implicit timeline. And in this case, it's the duration it would take to complete a transition. So when you're moving from one page to the other, that becomes the timeline from not moving the page at all and then being completely transitioned to another page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's our duration.
Yes.
Amazing colors. You'll notice again in the stream that we have not gone to the effort of finding a color palette, but we do have a site that we could steal one from, so things are still going to look like codographics.
Yeah, I think
But that's
maybe we'll look at making things not look like a nightmare in maybe a future episode. Let's just live with
That
this
sounds
for
good.
now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, so just wanted to, you mentioned the duration, so I just wanted to see over here. Did we use duration on the buttons?
Oh, I guess we removed that.
Oh yeah, that was for the horrible yellow color, and I
Yes.
wanted it to be viciously in your face, so I took
Yeah.
the duration away again.
One thing you can actually do for that, if you go back to your hell button, we didn't
Yep.
look at this last time. So if you add a duration to that change animator that changes it to yellow,
Yep.
and you give it like, say 0.5 seconds or something, right?
Yep.
Save that, and then you have to hold it in for 0.5 seconds, right?
Okay.
That feels horrible. That's not
Yeah.
what you want. So if you instead set the duration back, you can specify, because you can notice when you press down, it plays the timeline forward, and then
Yep.
you let go, it plays it backwards. So you can specify different durations on those.
Okay.
And maybe you want it to be instant when you touch it, but you want it
And
to
then fade
fade
away.
back in.
So if I do this,
Yes. Save that, and
oh,
then you
cool.
get that going on. I mean, it's still all broken because we have that other animator as well.
Yeah.
But you know.
But that's suitably disgusting. I'm keeping that.
Well,
That's excellent.
that's a vile thing we just did.
It's
Anyway.
a theme. It's a theme.
Yeah, I guess the key takeaway here is that certain triggers have like an implicit timeline that specifies the duration of all its animators, or you have events, like in this case, while it's being pressed, when it's being released, or we also looked at the tapped trigger, I think maybe in the first
Yeah,
episode,
we did.
which is what we call a pulse trigger, which is going to play its entire timeline from start to end and then back again, like irrespective of the user input other than the actual click.
Except in this case, we were using set, which is actually making a modification.
Yeah, these are all things
that.
we're gonna destroy.
Yeah. That's cool. So,
It bears mentioning, I just have to say, a lot of the things we've been going through so far, if you've been following along, are not necessarily best practices in any way, shape, or form. We've really just been going through concepts and looking at ways to achieve things that doesn't necessarily result in like scalable, elegant UX markup. It's just to show that these things are possible. For instance, we really generally don't want people to use the set animator. I guess it is an animator, because it changes the state and it introduces state into the UX markup. And UX markup is in general intended to be stateless. So when you apply a change animator, that's going to be a non-destructive animation. But with set, you can effectively destroy the rest state of your UI. It's a very, very dangerous trigger action. And in this case, we're using that to alter the active index of the navigation. It's an old pattern. You shouldn't use it. And this is why we're going to get rid of pretty much everything we have here today.
And so it's kind of like the questionable color scheme and things like this. This is just so we can, get the feel of the language itself. And I mean, if you look at the kind of examples that we've got on our site and the things that people have been making with Fuse so far, they generally look a lot better and they feel nicer. The set stuff, I guess we were doing this to avoid having to go into JavaScript too soon, because we would normally be doing things based on the state from that side.
Yeah,
generally. Is that roughly right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. In general, in Fuse, anything you do in UX markup is intended to be stateless, declarative, and you'll get your state, or you keep your state in a reliable state container, such as, say, something like Redux, or in this case, we're going to look at how Fuse does it with JavaScript. So we separate this. We call all the business logic is going to live in JavaScript. All the state of a component is going to live in JavaScript. Anything that introduces state or anything imperative at all is going to be in JavaScript. UX is about a specification. JavaScript can be about, well, it's up to you.
Here's the what and there's the how.
Yes. So my hope for this episode would be that we would start looking at some real data other than this sort of abstract nonsense we've been doing.
And I guess that's why you sent me this mysterious JS file with some things in it.
Yeah. Cool. So what this thing does, we're not going to go in depth with everything you see on screen here. Fuse, we're also looking at what will be an outdated way to do JavaScript with Fuse, but it is the currently sort of standard way. So.
This is what we're shipping, but we have
this is what we're
some
shipping.
Cool things in the pipeline that we're working on right now.
We have stuff that's going to make this ridiculously elegant, and look forward to an episode on that. But for now, you'll see at the very top, we're requiring our Fuse.js/observable, like our observable framework. It's the only actual framework that ships with Fuse. And it's really, I like to think of it as a box that contains a value, and then things can know if something happened to that value. It's more involved than that, but I think in general it just helps to think of it that way. And then we define an empty one of those called people. And this is so we can data bind to that, and then in the future at some point fill it with data. In our next function here, we have this fetch people that takes an observable. I like to write functions in this way, that any function just only has side effects for whatever arguments are passed into it. We use the standard fetch API, and we look at this radfaces.com site earlier.
All right.
We don't really have a backend, but it's a really, really nice. If you have a browser up, we can just take a quick look at that site.
I prepped this earlier.
Yeah.
Rad faces. There we go.
Jake pointed me to this thing. So it's really just
know about this
a lot of really funny, just really rad faces, like essentially avatars that you can quickly use for prototyping and so on.
Dinosaurs as well. Oh, that's perfect.
It's all the good stuff.
Yeah.
But they have this download JSON link, which it'll suffice for a backend for us.
Sweet.
So once we go back, we'll see, yep, I'm grabbing that JSON file. I'm getting the JSON from that result, and then I'm using the observable.replaceAll to fill our observable with the contents of that JSON. That's just really an array if you look at it, which it might be a good idea. There we go. So it really just specifies this array of objects where you have names and an image you can download and a location, which is a nice block of data. I don't remember how many of these are, a couple hundred or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Groovy.
You got enough faces.
Yep. That'll do.
So what this means in our module exports here is that we can specify this getPeople function, a getter essentially, that, hey, if we don't have people, do this fetch people thing, and in any case, return that people observable. And we'll see how this, what this effect this has in Fuse later. First of all, we got to make this JavaScript file available to us.
Okay.
And if you look at your Uno project,
I'm going to interrupt you just in case people are tuning in who haven't done Fusey things. There's one actual technical point. The reason we have these kind of observables and this separation between, let's do another way. We have a separation between JavaScript and UX. It's not just that there's two different languages. We run these completely separately from each other. And this is really good news for all of us because it means the UI can run as fast as it can. We get all those smooth animations. And we can do the data stuff. The JavaScript can't go as fast as the native code we generate for you. So yeah, that's why we have that separation. And then our observables are our bridge.
Yeah.
Right now, and it's going to get cooler over time. So yes, sorry, you were saying we're going to go somewhere.
Well, cool. Yeah, if you go to your sub.uni project, your project definition.
So,
and there's not a lot going on here right now. We are grabbing our basic Fuse and Fuse.js packages, but we also include everything with the star pattern. What we're going to do, okay, so the way you load files typically in Fuse is if you specify a file through like what we call a file source. So if you do, for instance, what we did with your image, you would do like image and the file is assets / fuselogo.png, right? That way Fuse can,
UX.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that way Fuse can determine which assets are actually needed when you build. So even if you have a ton of images in your assets folder, it'll only include the images you actually use, right? But this also means if you're going to do any sort of JavaScript and you don't have an explicit reference in UX to the JavaScript you want to reference, Fuse doesn't know about it. So we have a system called bundles. So if you just add a comma here, we're gonna add an extra pattern, just star.js, and you're gonna have a colon and a capital B bundle. Boom. So what this tells Fuse is look for every JavaScript file and bundle it. And it just means that when we do things like require or we reference that file, we don't need to follow the rules, shall we say. Like we don't need to use a file source to get at these things. They're always included.
So what I've seen like in some examples is they'll have like a JavaScript tag and some code in there.
Yes.
But I guess it's right to say that we obviously prefer in the general case, you're going to want to put stuff in separate JavaScript files for tidiness and
it depends. It depends. The thing that happens, and you'll see this right now actually. So, you know, let's just get started. Let's get rid of everything in your doc panel. Let's get rid of the doc panel entirely. Just murder everything.
Weeks of work.
Kill it all. No, it's fine. We can reuse most of this stuff. Actually get rid of the doc panel too. So the app we're going to make, this is all still pretty abstract, but we're going to make an app where you're going to be given a list of all these users we have. You're going to choose one of them, and we're going to go to a separate page to look at their details. Okay. This is called a master detail view.
Oh, is that like the pattern or something?
Well, that's what people call it.
True.
So first of all, we have to take this model we built in which you called oo.js.
Ooh, I didn't know what I was getting.
Well, let's just keep it that'll be fine. And you're going to make a JavaScript node in your main view.
Okay.
So the difference between JavaScript that you add in this way and the stuff we're going to require from oo.js is that this JavaScript context you're writing code in right here has some knowledge of the surrounding UX markup.
Right.
The way we tend to think of it is that what you're writing right now will be a view model. So this thing where we're going to write now has its responsibility is to look at a model that is pure JavaScript and expose values from that into our UX markup.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? Or typically you would apply some sort of transformation to it or something like, give me a massive list, but I only want the first names concatenated with the last names, stuff like that. So we still use the same pattern that you saw in oo.js. We're going to have to specify a module and its exports.
Oh, I'm going to jump back to look at that for a second. Ooh. Right, sorry.
Cool. So you want module.exports.
And we'll spell it any way we like.
Yep.
Yep.
And that's going to be an object. And we'll have something called people. Nope, just good old-fashioned people. There we go. And okay, I'm thinking ahead of myself here. Just get rid of that colon. Go up above module exports. We're going to get access to our model. So just do, oh, by the way, if you're doing this on desktop or any device more modern than I guess iOS 9, you can just use a lot of ES 2015 just right here in Fuse. So just do const. Have you written any ES6?
No.
Yeah, cool. This will be fun then. Const model equals require oo and spell.
How many O's?
That's the 3 O's, sir. No, you don't need the .js. That's not.
Oh, no?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Boom. There's your model. And then people is going to be model dot get people.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. Get people.
That's a function. So call that. Boom. And now in our app we have access.
What? Get people. Nice.
Yes. So now we can data bind to this people field. And I guess just to get stuff off the ground so we can have a look at it, if you make a stack panel.
Yep.
And you put in each inside of it. And earlier we used each with a count. Just give me some items. But now we're going to data bind this each to a collection of things. So each items is people. And
do
you're going to use our curly braces.
Fancy brackets?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. So it's an expression. It's simple. And we just people?
Just people. And now whatever you put inside of that each is going to be, you're going to have one instance per person in this massive array. So what I would do is maybe just for testing, make a text.
Sure.
And set
text.
Text.
Yell it.
And set the value to it's so what.
Well, let's start just with getting some. What have I done?
You haven't closed the tag. Boom.
There we go.
So
Loads of foos. Okay.
Lots of foos, and also maybe change the background back to white so we can actually see these things. Why did we choose these colors, Chris?
Because we have problems.
We are silly people. Anyway,
Deep
boom.
Psychological problems.
So we can now see we have fetched our data. When that data arrived, this each updated. I was like, I got things to look at. And then for each item in that collection, it tries to instantiate a template.
I'm going to step through this like a slow person. Okay, so that is calling, again, it's going to be calling get people. And that's available because this JavaScript is nearby, I guess. We're in the same scope.
Yes.
And we don't have to worry about the require because that was just pulling in this. So let's go and look at get people that was exported. Okay, so this guy's a function, takes nothing, and is going to return it. Okay, so yeah, if it's not present, it's going to go and fetch the people, and let's have a look. So the fetch is doing what?
It's grabbing.
Oh yeah, there we go. Observable replace all. That's where what I was looking for, was something that was going to put the data in the observable, because that's our bridge between the two places.
Yes.
And we're returning that observable, which is over here. So a little bit of jumping, but that's just, I guess, because
slight bit of jumping. One important thing to kind of know is that the observable is not an array. So when you call replace all on it, it's more like it's an array-like structure. But you can't just set it to an array. That would make it an observable of one value, which is the pointer to the array. What we want to do is create lots of items in our observable based on the items in the array that we put in, which is why we used to replace all there.
And the reason, obviously, we want an observable of many items is so that we're aware, structurally, which ones we add and remove and where, so the UI can reflect that.
Yes, observable gives us a lot of information about sequence and so on.
Thing. Is it possible to require the OO file just in another tag?
You can require it wherever you need it.
Cool. So this, we only need this because we're going to do things here.
Yes. What this JavaScript does is expose stuff from the model for the UX context that we're in, or it's establishing the data context for the UX markup surrounding that tag, or the neighboring
fancy words,
tag.
and it's done.
Data context becomes, and we'll see more details on how that works.
Cool. Let's do that.
What each does here, so for each item in people, do something. But what it does then, it creates a local data context for each item. So you can just data bind directly here. So instead of foo, data bind to first_name. Right.
So like this.
Yes. Save that.
Cool. And then we give this a nudge.
Boom.
And
there you go. So why does that work?
Okay. I need to go look at the JSON and find out, because again, we pulled down a load of stuff and we just turned into JSON and threw it in there. So I'm guessing the structure came from Magic Land. Right, let's see.
So each element in this array is an object, right?
Right, okay, so first name is from here. Sick. All right.
Exactly. So what happened was that we expanded that object as the local data context of the UX for each iteration of the each.
Nice. And I guess we've done images before where we're talking about an image that's here. Can we just shove a URL in so we can take this and throw it in the image?
For sure. In fact, why don't we? So instead of just having a text,
what?
Instead of just having a text, let's make a doc panel.
Okay.
Just because I like doc panels a lot.
Yep.
And
we're gonna have things in there.
Yep. And we're gonna keep the text that we made, and we're also going to add an image. And we'll use URL instead of file this time.
Ah, cool. Yeah.
And then you'll just data bind that to image.
Yep. And fancy brackets, image.
Yep.
Not like that.
And you want to dock that image to the left, I think.
1 second.
Yeah, this is you forget to close your tags, man. Bad boy. Boom. See, now they're taking up all this space. That's not really helpful because you haven't really docked it yet.
Yeah.
So if you dock the image to the left.
Okay.
And you set the height to something like 450 or something. Let's make it like a thumbnail, right?
We can just fill this one out. Oh,
There you go.
Yeah, that was quick. Okay.
And
Nice.
suddenly we now have a list. And of course this list is longer than the screen, so we're gonna have to stick all of this in a scroll view. So you can just wrap the stack panel in a scroll view.
I don't think we've used it so far.
Scroll view is it's like trivially easy to use for how much benefit it gives you. It's like a joke. There we go. And with that, we now have a scrollable list of all of our people.
Damn, nice.
Boom. That was pretty quick, right?
Yeah. Actually, putting aside the fact that we are doing this to show things off, that was actually really quick.
Yeah. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take each of these items and we'll make that take us somewhere else. And this is where it gets a little, I guess some people might consider it hairy. It's not, let's just do it.
Yeah. I'll be the judge of how hairy it is.
Okay.
As a professional hairy person.
Because now we have to restructure further. First of all, we're going to get, I guess you can just comment out pretty much everything you just did.
Okay.
No, wait, what's smarter? Put everything like from the JavaScript to the scroll view and put it in a page.
Okay, so basically take all the contents of the app here.
Yes.
And put it in a page.
And we can just...
oh, you want to, like, should we just do it in line here?
No, you know what? Make a separate
Make a
document.
new page.
Yeah, because there's going to be a lot of UX in this.
So this is a face page.
I guess we'll call it list page or something. Just so...
List page.
Boom.
That is not.
And we still have our lovely page. We can keep reusing that. Just cut that.
Just grab this, throw it in list page.
Yes, sir. Oh God.
Cool. We've got some explosions happening outside.
They are demolishing outside. This is horrible.
It's all right. We're professionals. We will endure.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that I haven't put this in any kind of tag. Are we going to do rect again, or are we going to do lovely page? Or
Use lovely page for now.
that's going to work apparently. Cool.
And
I want to see how this works.
stick everything in that lovely page. And you're gonna have to subclass lovely page though. So it'll be lovely page UX class,
Right.
and we'll call it list page, right?
The
Cool.
beeping will stop momentarily. They're
After they explode something.
yeah, they're literally blowing up the street next to us, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that really comes across because it's so meaty when it just rumbles through the building.
It's lovely. Okay.
That was it.
Really?
Oh,
That's
pathetic.
disappointing. Okay, cool. So we have our list page, right? Go back to your main view.ux.
Yep.
We're gonna start looking at more formal navigation.
I'm going to just take a second because I really want to look at that lovely page thing again
Mm-hmm.
because that was kind of trivial and I just want to see what we did. So yeah, we can wrap things. We wrapped everything in a lovely page and then we gave it a new UX class.
Mm-hmm.
That's dope.
Yep.
Cool. That was actually really easy. Sorry, I'm just seeing how these things compose because we've got all this stuff here, like the rectangle and the animation, but that just applies to the rectangle, and then everything else is now going inside that rectangle. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay,
Sure.
I'm with you again now.
Okay.
You can be
so,
hot.
last time we looked at using a page control.
Yep.
Page control, like I also touched on, is a very
Ooh,
there we go.
That's better.
Now they're gonna do the nice snare rush. Anyway, we're not gonna use the list page just yet. Make a navigator.
Navigator.
Yes. And
Sweet.
inside of our navigator, so the navigator is a, it's a more, how would I put this? It's a complicated navigation control.
It can do more stuff.
That
than
can
our
do
page.
like tree navigation type things, like go into a page, go to a subpage of that page, and maintain like back history and stuff like
Cool.
that. And a navigator needs a router to know
Right.
where to go. So we're also going to make a router right above it,
Okay.
and we're going to need a name for that. So
And
UX,
name.
UX name.
So we're going to do UX.
Yes.
Cool. Nice.
And
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's going to allow us to refer to an instance.
yes,
I will remember. Okay, so it's
just call it router. Lowercase r.
Oh
just
yeah.
for clarity. Boom. Okay, so now we have the two things that we need. The router is going to let us set the navigation. The navigator is going to read that navigation and present something to us,
Okay,
right?
sure.
So in the navigator, first of all, since we have a list page already, you're going to make a list page.
Ah, it returns. This
And
page.
instead of UX name, in this case, you're going to call it UX template. You don't actually have to put anything inside of it.
Okay.
So UX template.
There we go. If I can type.
Capital T. And I just usually call them the same name as the class name, so list page.
Okay, I'll stick with your naming scheme this time.
Yeah, it's just what I do.
So we're not going to do anything inside it, so we don't need this guy.
Exactly. So in the Navigator, you can set a default path. And
So
we'll set that to list page. So the template name, list page, becomes the path that you would go to reach that page.
Okay, so the Navigator is going to contain a ton of different places we can go to, navigate between.
Yes.
We're going to give them names so we can navigate, like
we can go
talk about the ones. Yeah, exactly. And
Yes.
then the router is going to be what we like set.
Yes.
Like which one we go. Okay.
So if you save this now.
We're ready so far? Yep.
And that
are we going to have to nudge something, or are we?
Let's look at our list page again.
I didn't actually update this week, so we'll still have last week's bugs.
Oh, good times. Let me look at list page again real quick.
So again, let's go over here.
So that's a lovely page. Just a sanity check. Just to try instead of lovely page, just make it page instead. Because I'm seeing an outline here, so I'm seeing something. Okay, so there's something we did in lovely page that screws us up. Let's look at lovely page again. I'm curious now. So we have our entering animation.
I mean, it was full white. If we do red here just for a second and change this back to lovely page, is this gonna? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There.
Oh, right. It just needed.
Oh.
Just needed to be hit.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Well, that's silly.
Yep. Last week's bugs.
Okay, cool. Anyway, so now what we have the original results, but we have this entire page sort of encapsulated here, right? So like for this page, we have this view model that grabs the model, gets people from it, and presents it on screen, right?
Right.
Now we need to be able to talk to the router to go to one of these people, right?
Okay.
So to do that, we have to, well, if you look back at main view,
let's have a look.
I want to pass this router reference into my list page so that I can use that in JavaScript
like
in there as well.
We do all these arguments like default path. Is there equivalent we can
on the router?
Yeah, like if we're going to pass the router somewhere, can we pass it like?
There is,
cool.
But it's per page. So if you go into your list page right now, and you add at the very top.
Yeah, like here.
No, as in a new attribute.
Yep.
And you do a router, capital R. And you say UX dependency.
Okay.
And you give it a name that you want to use. Oops. So I just usually use just router for this. Boom, close that tag.
I'm going to do it a separate name from the other one, just because I'm going to get confused otherwise.
Do whatever you want.
So dep router, nice.
Yes, and you have to close that tag.
Of course I do. Yeah. That's how it works in this language.
So once you save this now, you're going to start getting some errors. It's going to be like, that's not going to work.
There are problems.
You got to hit that button on the right.
Oh yeah, this guy.
Doink.
There we go.
So, no, wait, that's not the one. Go under log.
That's
okay. Well, there we go. So, list page must specify required attribute dep router at the bottom.
Okay.
Right. So, if you go back to your main view to fix this.
Sorry if that was a little small for the stream. We'll.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you can't help it. And now it gives us that nice squiggly as well.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
So that's now going to be dep router equals router because that's the name we gave it.
Dep router equals router.
Well, in quotations, yes.
Yeah. Cool.
Save that up and boom. Cool. So now when you're in the list page, you can start doing stuff to the router.
Okay.
This is a typical pattern where you make your page and you pass in a router so that that page can communicate to the rest of the world.
Gotcha.
So now we have one page done, right? Let's make a new page. So just make a new file.
Sure.
And we'll do about the same thing we just did. So I guess we'll call it face page. This one.
Yeah.
And will you make a lovely page?
I did think we'd actually be using that again after we made that mess, but I'm pretty happy we have.
It is 100% what we're going for.
Right.
And you got to give that a class name, so we'll just call it face page. Yeah.
Equals, and is this one meant to be lowercase?
Uppercase, since it's the class.
This one.
Yes.
Oh, of course, yeah. Come on, Chris.
Face page, sir.
Oh, yeah. That's why.
All right, cool. So now let's just leave that there for now. So if you go to main view.
Caffeinating, man. Hold on.
And you hit, just do the same thing you did with list page, like make a face page and set the template name for it.
That was pleasant. So do this, and we'll do...
We'll actually do, we'll...
Face page.
And we'll call it face page.
Is just...
Face page.
Yep, sure. Yep. Oh, yeah, of course. Right.
Yeah, so this is the...
track. So
this in navigation, this is the name that matters.
Yeah, okay.
And it doesn't have the dep router yet, but we want it to have that as well. So you can just copy that out of your
I am
list
going
page.
to put these names. I said I was gonna stick with you, but I am
You're such a rebel.
just a simple man with no memory. I need to see the things. Okay, so nav face page, dep router. What am I doing wrong? Oh yeah, dep router. And we haven't added the dep router to.
So you copy that from your list page.
So whoop, this guy, and then we're gonna go over here, paste this guy in, and save.
Boom.
Maybe it's not full of rage now.
Awesome.
Does it know? Oh yeah, it should be good. Nav list page, nav list page.
Nav list page, nav face page.
Oh, we're gonna have to nudge it again.
What else did we mess around with right now? That should be fine. Look at the log again. That's being weird to us. Oh, just hit Control R on there. Sometimes you gotta poke it. Or not. Doesn't matter.
That's alright.
We'll make this work fine. So, going back to our... Fascinating.
That's alright. It'll come in. Keep talking.
Oh, couldn't navigate to this page. Never mind. Let's go back to your main view. I think I know what this is. We'll pass now this page. Yeah, sometimes with this version, the navigation history gets a little weird when you start messing around with the template names. But for now, let's go back to your list page.
Sure.
Because now we have pretty much every piece we need. The list page now has this each that goes through all these people. We have this doc panel that has the text and the image. And when you click on that, we want to choose that as our thing we want to see details for, right? So in your module exports on the JavaScript here, you're gonna have to add a function that we can call. So comma, and we're gonna call that select person.
Sure.
Make that a function, and it's going to take an arguments object. So just args is what I usually call it.
Fair enough.
Open close. And so what's gonna happen here, if you go into your doc panel,
okay,
and you add a tapped to it.
To the whole thing?
Yes.
So we want so that's actually just going to be like down here or something.
Yes.
Groovy.
So tapped, and you can add a handler to that tapped. Just directly, you don't have to open it.
Okay.
Yeah. Handler, and you're going to data bind that to select person.
All right. Oh yeah. Now I see where we're going. So
yes.
When they click on this item, this is going to call this function.
Yes. Great. And the way it works, if we can get that thing poked into.
Yeah, we better get some things going on here.
Control Shift R. We'll do a rebuild. Again, sometimes navigation history gets messed up if you do what you did.
Shift Alpha Mac?
There we go. That'll do it. Just hold on for a moment.
Yeah.
New stream, new problems. It's okay. Yeah, all the new.
That's how we find them.
All the new JavaScript stuff we're doing is fixing everything. So, really looking forward to actually showing that stuff off.
Nah, that's gonna be cool.
Goodness gracious me.
I'm glad we don't have to. Most of the time, live reload is all we need, and that works. So we get a lot of native code.
Some exciting starting project action happening here. Oh, well, that's annoying.
That's right.
Well, while it's doing that, head back into the list page.
Yep.
And what you do in select person. Let's see, we're getting pro tips from the CEO. Well, you know. Whoa, I did not know this. Doc panel has its own tapped. Okay, so remove the tapped trigger.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
That is actually really cool.
So we can just do tapped up here?
Yes. Equals, and then just stick that in there.
This guy.
Yeah.
See, you gotta listen to your CEO every now
That
and
is
then.
neat. I don't know why that thing is frozen over there. Try poking at it.
Yeah.
As in literally poking at it.
Yeah, this is
actually quite odd.
Yep, that's what we get. Why do I not learn? I am going to
what did you do?
I'm gonna kill this and start again.
Cool. You can actually just click the local button at the bottom of this plugin. And it'll start a local preview, which is
nice.
the episode.
That is cool.
They are still blowing stuff up outside.
They love it.
Explosion people.
They don't even need to destroy that street, but they will.
Okay.
Loading magic.
There we go.
Pixies.
Hopefully things will behave.
All is well. Except
I still start.
We got a log. That's cool. There we go.
Hell yes.
Yes. Okay. Right.
Finally. Okay. Cool. So now just to check the stuff works.
Momentary interruption. What was that?
Yeah. Just to check the stuff works. If you go into the list page, just add a console.log into your select person.
Sure. console.log, and then
save that stuff, then hit any of them, and if you look at the log, you're going to see a bunch of foos. There we go.
Loads of food.
But of course, this is now
More
a
food
single
than my body's
function
looking
for. It seems like we're calling the same function for every item, right? That's not useful. In fact, they're all being called with different arguments, because the tapped, actually, if you look at the args, it has a .data on it. args.data.firstname. Try that.
Can I do just args.data, or is that?
It's an object, so I don't know what's going to actually print out anything meaningful for you.
Nope, just says object. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. So first name?
Yes. It's a pointer to the data context. So there you go.
Yeah.
Now
some data.
Now we have the actual object that we want to show details for.
That's actually very cool. Okay, so stepping through, we have each, which is taking this observable of people. We're getting an item for each one of these, in this case a doc panel, and then we are calling, so where's our select person? But that gets the context of the item we're working with as well. So each one is going to get a separate one of those. So when we say select person, okay, that's just implicit argument, so we don't have to specify anything in here.
Yes.
But in these cases, we're just actually saying which element we want to pull out of that context. Nice. Okay.
Sometimes if you wonder what kind of stuff is being given to you through the args object, just doing a console dir on it, dir, will show you whatever is in there, or at least one level deep. Yeah. So sometimes like a tap trigger will give you, well, it depends stuff like where the thing was tapped or so.
That is not the comment I was looking for.
That's you're creating nightmares. Just gotta click one of these duders. See?
Okay, yeah,
so there you go.
Nice, okay.
So you see the local touch position as well. You see the node.
Want to do args.data.
Yes. And that should just give you.
Sweet,
boom.
These are the different people.
Exactly.
Ah, that's cool.
And now we can use that data with our navigation system to drive another page.
I was kind of listening, but I was also noticing that Daria's in here as well. And this is just great.
It's more literally the
Daria
best
and
list
King of the Hill references.
People
in
the world.
Good life. Yeah. Sorry. There we go.
Cool.
Focus, Chris.
Now we're going to do some magical things.
Yep.
So since we have the dep router at the top, we can just talk to it through JavaScript.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Any named thing can typically be accessed through the JavaScript. Like the dep router at sibling is a JavaScript node, right? That means the JavaScript node can talk to it.
Right.
That's
fair
basically the rule.
Yeah.
So we're going to use dep router.
So I just
Exactly. Dep router dot go push is actually what we want. And we want to call, what's the name, face page? But you call it nav face page,
I think I
right?
called it nav face page, yeah.
Yes.
For my needs. Yes, there we go. Now face page. Okay, so talk about why it's push and not like go or something.
So go to destroys your navigation stack, which means you can never go back.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, push adds
so
one
like,
too.
Like a set.
Yes.
But for nav.
Yes.
Nice.
So push means you can use the back button.
Cool.
Boom. See, now it goes to page and it does nothing because it doesn't have the data, right?
Really?
So to make that happen, if you go back in your list page, we were actually going to call this with an argument. So nav face page and args.data.
So comma args.data. Like
this now becomes the parameter of this navigation event. Right? It's
okay, so you can go somewhere with some stuff. It's like, hey, go there, take this.
Go there, and when you arrive, provide this stuff.
Nice.
So now we have data we can play around with. So if you go into your face page again, you're gonna have to write a little bit more JavaScript.
Yep. Okay, so we need another tag.
Yes.
Woohoo!
Doink. And now you're gonna get some magic. So this page is being served this parameter through this implicit variable, which is this dot parameter with a capital P.
Alrighty.
So if you just do this parameter, and this is another one of those observables we looked at earlier.
Right. Okay. Well, that makes sense because we're going to be communicating from some stuff that's in the UI land. So
it's happening asynchronously.
Okay. Nice.
But just to see what happens here, you can do this dot parameter dot on value changed.
Okay. Is that
a lowercase o? Yeah. And you're going to bind it to module. So when the module gets disposed, we remove this listener as well. So
okay.
Just put module in there.
Yep.
And then comma, you get put a function in.
Okay, and this is going to take our
it'll get some data at this point, or a value in this case, and you can just console dir it.
Nice. Okay, so console.dir and the data.
Yes, and now we're gonna have to. If you go back into your app here, you'll notice it's not showing anything yet, right? Because the last time we went to this page, we didn't give it any data.
Yeah.
If you right-click and you choose back button, or go back.
Oh yeah, go back.
I guess Command B works too. And now we're back at the previous page. So just click on anything now and see what happens. and go to your log. And there we go.
Oh, nice. Okay, so Alan. Right.
So there we go. Now we have now we know that our God, total brain freeze. Go back into your fuel SPH. You know that our parameter gets populated at some point in the future, right? Which means we have to respond to it sometime in the future. This is one of the things we're trying to, because it's, if you're okay with functional reactive sort of programming paradigms, this stuff makes a lot more sense. But if you're a beginner, it might be just completely terrifying.
There's a few moves here we're just having to remember and just go, this is the way it's done.
Yeah, but even this pattern I'm showing you right now is not a good one. Because again, on value changed is typically not. I mean, you can use that for things, but like trying to write code around observables that are synchronous doesn't tend to work out for you. What we're going to do, if you go to create a module.exports, because we need to look at this object, right?
Okay, so we can do this below here.
Yes, module.exports, and make as an object, and we'll just say info colon is this dot parameter dot identity. So identity doesn't do anything, like, and it's a function. So just there we go. So identity doesn't actually do anything to the data inside of it. It just returns the thing, right? So it's pretty straightforward. Now we can just remove the on value changed as well.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. Since we're not doing anything really to this data, what this JavaScript is, its responsibility is taking some data and presenting it to us in a format that makes sense for us.
Yeah.
And in this case, the data is already in a format that makes sense for us.
Cool.
So
we do some kind of data massaging here, and then it's provided by the JavaScript to the other elements that are living in the scope.
Yes.
Roughly enough.
For instance, instead of using identity, you could use a map and take the object, do some stuff to it. Maybe you concatenate the names and then return a new object, and then you would data bind the stuff on that.
Actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So let me just step through here again so I can get the full story. Not at this bit. No, it was this bit. This page. Okay. So yeah, then when we were tapping on our item, we're calling this function, and then we're just telling our router we want to go here and take this data with you, and that nav page, which we defined over here, and we can put as many as whatever we like in there, it's going to travel there with that information, and that's going to get passed
to this parameter.
This parameter. That makes sense.
Yes.
Okay.
So now we're on this page with nothing on it, so you can make it pretty. I guess we have a picture we can show much bigger.
Well,
now.
yeah, like we can. Let's just start off with that image. So it was URL, wasn't it?
Yes.
For the thing, and we can take some
info. In this case, it will also look at. You still got to use those curlies.
Oh yeah.
And you're going to data mine to info.image. Right? Because info is going to contain the actual object. Boom. There we go.
Wicked.
And now we can just keep filling out with the bigs.
And then I click on Aeon. Oh, dude, yeah, that's totally working.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that is the fundamentals of a really simple sort of master detail setup.
Nice. Okay, so one thing is we've got a transition when we're going to Aeon here, but when I say go back, it's just cut. Oh no,
it's not.
That was actually the page coming in. Okay.
It's just not looking very pretty doing so. And also, you have to remember also that our transition on lovely page is bananas.
Yes. Yeah, we had some kind of blur and stuff going on there.
Yeah, honestly, it might be easier to see what's going on if we just make them just pages instead of lovely pages.
Yeah, we can totally do that.
Yeah.
Like, we can swap this stuff out anytime.
We totally can. And there's nothing, I mean, there is probably a lot of UX wrong with having different transitions for every page, but you can still totally do that.
Yeah. I mean, we give you the tools to make the things, you have to make it nice.
Ba-boom.
And now if we go and see Pete.
Boom. Yeah, that's a little bit more predictable.
That's a bit more, yep, whoops.
Yeah.
Go back.
Wait, that's funny.
Yesterday's bugs today.
Navigation is a hoot. One of the things we're actually doing, and hopefully we can take a look at that next stream, is how we're doing navigation in the future, where you'd really just kind of manage the array yourself, manage the entire navigation stack. It just makes it easier to know where, to have a single source of truth for your navigation history.
From what I've seen so far, that's the Fused.js stuff, right?
Yes.
That was looking a lot simpler.
It is significantly simpler and a lot. I mean, we're showing this stuff off because it's important to know, like, historically. It also shows you a lot of like important information about how Fuse treats data and how JavaScript lives inside of UX. But we are constantly working on making this even better and even simpler. So
yeah, fantastic. Okay, so we've got this. We need some kind of button to go back to the other page.
You also need to show more information. You have a full name, you have a first name, you have a last name, you have a location. You can show all that stuff.
Face page. Okay, let's get down here and
Just we can stick all this stuff in. I guess you can do a dock panel again, and dock the. Oh yeah, let's do that. So, dock panel, and just leave your image in the middle there. You don't have to dock it anywhere. But we're gonna have the name at the top, and we're gonna have a location at the bottom. So, how do you get both the first name and the last name in there? Pop quiz.
Can we have multiple expressions in there?
Absolutely.
Sweet. Can we
And the
just
string,
stick it?
string concatenation happens pretty like intuitively. So you do
Okay,
info
so
dot
it's-
first name, close that expression.
And then just open another one?
Yes.
Cool, so we're splicing values into the... Oh, that's just cool.
Mm-hmm.
And was it last name?
Yes.
Without those casing problems.
So that guy, and it looks like you're gonna have to. Yep.
Woo!
You didn't close the tag again.
Oh, I'm so special about that.
You got it. There we go. Pete Wrigley. Boom. And now you can, center that and make it bigger or whatever
Cool.
visual treatment you want to give it.
Yeah, so that's like... What's it? Is it dock for center?
Dock to top. Yes.
Okay, dock to top and then align to center.
Yes.
Alignment equals center. Nice.
Boom.
Like that.
and
And
Beautiful.
probably some font size or something.
yeah, it's like 32, some multiple of
Or
a
some number.
programmery nerdy number.
Yep.
And we'll do the same. Just copy that text, stick it at the bottom. Dock to bottom, and we have location. So info.location. And I guess we'll also look at real quickly at how functions look in expressions. So if you save this now, we have Wellsville.New York. What if you wanted that to be uppercase every single time you see it,
All right.
irrespective of what the actual data says?
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, we're going to try just because we have a function called toUpper that will do this to you. So you go to the value, and before the first curly,
I'm gonna
you're going
be
to do lowercase 2 and upper.
Like
Yeah,
this?
yeah, and let's put it in parentheses. So.
Cool. Friends
And
friends.
what do you think is going to happen now? Exactly that, right?
Okay, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So-
because that we can't take over words. like
Yeah,
this.
so like we have to do the curlies again?
You do curlies, but you do like a special kind of curly. So
Okay.
first you do the curlies around the entire thing.
Yep.
And
Oops.
now it's going to try data bind to this value called toUpper parens whatever. That's not going to work.
No.
What you want to do is put an equal sign after the first curly, and it
Okay.
tells us that the result of this expression is going to be a string.
That's
It's
funny,
a
it
special
kinda-
case of expression, essentially.
Yeah, it's kind of cute. It actually reminds me of old kind of like Excel stuff where it's like equals some janky formula.
You might need a space after the
equals?
equals, yeah.
Sure.
But, yeah,
And
it's-
do we still want the curly braces around
yes, you do.
here? Okay, nice.
And you save this, and boom, there
Sweet.
you go.
Okay, gotcha.
And in the past, you would actually have to, I mean, in earlier versions of Fuse, you would do some sort of map, like we talked about earlier,
Mhm.
on the parameters. Like, I want this in an uppercase way, so I can
Mhm.
data bind to that in an uppercase format. Like, now you don't need that weird JavaScript sort of round trip for doing that sort of transform.
So if I go to the docs, what's the name that I should be looking up to find these kind of functions?
Wait, I'm
this
being corrected again.
expressions?
This is great. We don't need the equals actually on this, because I guess just simply putting it, yeah, that works too.
Nice.
Why don't we? This is
Thank you, sir.
uh
Or is that Duckers again?
yes, absolutely.
Cool.
We need to bring him on the stream at some point. Anyway,
Get the
awesome.
latest and greatest. Yep.
I guess this makes more sense too. I always thought it was a bit odd to need a special case for that equals. But I mean, if you just do me a favor, I just want to see something. So
Yeah.
if you do the whoa,
Oh,
sorry
you can
about
just
that.
punch the microphone all day as well.
Smash the microphone in. Just remove that toUpper expression.
Yep.
And just do like 2 plus 2 in there.
What here?
Just remove the info location as well. Just have like, boom, boom, save that.
Yep.
Yep. So that still works.
Nice. Cool.
Okay, so
So
you
yeah, we
don't
don't
need
need
to
that equals.
explicitly turn it into a string. Fine.
Nice.
Lesson learned, sir. Oh, and apparently we also don't need the inner curlies for info location. This is new
That
stuff
makes
to me.
sense. That actually, because yeah, we're in
Huh.
data land already.
See, turns out people are making beautiful things,
Yeah.
and
getting
I'm
better all
not
the
even
time.
aware of it. That's amazing.
Cool.
Thanks,
This
boss.
is why we need to do these streams.
Yes.
Pull this information into one place.
That's
Sweet.
super cool.
So-
I have questions, but I'm not supposed to have questions.
Yeah. Well.
Anyway.
We'll find out about those. That's no problem.
Awesome. Now we have the sort of classical.
Yeah.
We're going to do one more thing, just because what if you're on an iPhone, you don't have a back button, right?
Yep.
So we're going to add actually a button to the top of this page.
Okay.
So,
just throw it in the dock panel. or-
On top of the dock panel, so above it.
Yep.
And just make a button.
Ah,
just use one of those built-in ones.
This
is you don't typically use this button for the. Use a hell button, Chris.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go
like
nuts.
why are we not using the button we created?
That's a very good question.
Disgusting thing.
And
right?
you'll just give that a label. It's called back.
That was it, Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna have to round off. So this will be our finisher for now.
Yep.
Say that up. Ah, it takes over everything.
Yes. That's what I wanted.
Align that to the top left. So if you set an alignment rule on it, it's going to be kind of compressed to its minimum size.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Top left.
I do remember that was episode 1.
Doink.
Groovy.
And
so one disgusting button.
Yep. And inside of that hell button, we want to do a tapped.
Yep.
Maybe.
Okay.
So yeah. If we do need to use a tap.
Yeah. Let's do it this way.
Yep. And you.
These are ways I've seen before, so at least I.
Yes. Just open that thing. We're gonna put a go back inside of it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So go back. And you have to tell it which navigation context you want to go back in. In this case, we have our router dependency, right?
Yeah.
So navigation context is dep router.
Dep router.
And we just close that tag.
Yep.
And now, well, we apparently broke our navigation at some point here. So
what did I do? What did I type?
What I typically do for this, if you go into viewport at the very top,
yep,
everything's fine. It's just the navigation stack is messed up. Just in there, at the very top, you see the menu bar.
Okay. Yep.
No, you're breaking everything.
Oh,
Chris.
sorry.
In the menu bar for this application we're currently in.
Yep.
Viewport.
Okay.
And you hit restart.
Nice. Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Apparently we're not coding in Lisp.
Yeah, funny that.
I'll
be doing that stream tomorrow. And then I'll be at home and I don't have to quote my brackets. No, I do really appreciate this. I need to get some need to get this into muscle memory, and it's just good to be back in this kind of part of the code base again. Too much C++ recently.
I like how every time we try to restart this project, it won't.
Well, it's because we're streaming.
Oh, right.
It's like we're just cursed at this point.
It's weird how that works. We can try what I mentioned earlier. If you just close the window.
Yep.
And you just hit the local button.
Sure.
See if that it'll spin up a little bit in the background.
Yeah. Give us some love, stream. We just need to close off in a good way.
Yeah.
And I will actually remember to install a newer version.
Yeah, this it's odd. Like, I mean, every time we try and do anything on the stream, things are just.
Again, this laptop is full of everything I've been building over the last.
Full of viruses.
So very elegant viruses. So Aeon,
cool,
back,
and there we go.
So yeah, all is good. You just need to not be using my laptop, and everything's fine.
Your dream application.
It is
finally complete.
It is truly astonishing, and that's about as far as I can go with it.
But seriously though, look at how much code we wrote.
Yeah, no, it is actually tiny. And I'm following along, which is pretty good for kind of 3 episodes in. That is sweet. Like I say, didn't think I'd be moving this fast, so that's good. Groovy.
Yep, I think that's actually been quite a substantial stream.
Yeah.
So one thing we did, we have a tag for last episode's version of this code, and we're gonna also push the same for this episode. And I'm going to
paste the link. So I've thrown the code we've been working on a repo and on my GitHub. I'm committing after each episode. So there's an episode 2 commit. There'll be an episode 3 commit up very soon, which means you'll have this. And play around with it. Fork it, do whatever you like with it, make it prettier. Actually, if you make it look nice and then send it to us, we'll use it in the next episode.
Yeah. I think that's gonna
maybe I want disgusting apps, but yeah, try it. Give it a go.
Reckon that's gonna call it for us tonight.
Fantastic. Thanks, man. That's that'll do. Time for awkward transition to press the button.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite part of the night.
It's my favorite part of the night.
Well, here we go. Old man modes.
Thanks, folks. See you around.
Cheers.
Bye.